They should be now.
No. No. Citizens' comments on agenda-related items. We have one item tonight. Is there any citizens like to make any comments? Seeing none on our new business. Consideration of ordinance 20-20 or 20-02, approving amendments to the City of Manistee Downtown Development Plan and Tax Increment Financing Plan. At the February 4th, 2020 meeting, City Council adopted Manistee Downtown Development Authority amendments to the Development and Tax Increment Financing Plan. The original ordinance was adopted on April 2nd, 1985, amended April 3rd, 1989, and amended September 6th, 2008. Ordinance 20-20, approving the amendments adopted on February 4th, 2020, repeals all ordinances in conflict. As an ordinance, two separate readings are required. If this ordinance is introduced at this time, it could be adopted at the next regular meeting. At this time, council could take action to introduce ordinance 20-02, approving amendments to the City of Manistee Development Plan and Tax Increment Financing. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
A motion, do I have a second?
A second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yes. I think I'm really in conflict with this ordinance simply because I go through the downtown and I'm wondering what's new since all the years we've had this downtown, which really needs a lot of work. And there's a good article in the paper today that says about if you're going to retain businesses, if you're going to retain people, people drive through your downtown. We want some of those 16,000 cars that come through the highway to come downtown. But if they look at some of the buildings that are down there, this guy says nobody's going to stop. So I think we need if we're going to introduce an ordinance, let's do something and start working, because to me it's just sad that we go through downtown. We got the same buildings with the same plywood on them. And I've looked at the permits that have been issued to those buildings, and all they have is final extension. I mean, we've had a final extension on these buildings for a couple of years now. And I think it's time to start doing something and start getting these people to clean up the business.
Anyone else?
Well, I don't disagree about, the state of some of the buildings down there, and they have been lingering for, well, again, I've been back since 2016, and they've looked the same. But on the other side of this, I think that the current TIF plan, and I think the people from the DDA are more aggressive than they ever have been in the past. I think that a lot of the challenges with getting people to kind of restore and renovate the buildings have kind of made the turn, and the progress on the Gateway project, on working with the old Glicks building and some of those other key issues, I think are finally making some headway. So although I don't disagree with the lack of efforts in the past, I think that the opportunities for the future look pretty bright right now.
But I just want to see some progress.
Yep, I agree.
Mr. Taylor, maybe you could help me out. This motion is we're voting on an amendment to the current.
Correct.
And what is included in that amendment? Tax. We're
adopting the new development plan that was approved by council.
Yep.
So and part of that too is the agreement with the city. So we're basically we're approving that development plan, and then just extending, by the amendment, extending the TIF for another 25 years.
Any other questions?
25 years is a long time.
Well, and 25 was picked to able to fund all of the different projects that the DDA has in mind for that district.
And there's still an annual budget requirement.
There is.
So even though it's a 25-year
Yep.
extension.
Yeah, the budget is approved by council as part of the regular budgeting process.
I agree with both of you. I see that there's a lot of issues, but we have a lot of new members on the DDA, and I see a lot of things that can be accomplished. And the plan is, it's a good plan, it's ambitious, but I think we can do it. So
Well, I'd like to see a shorter time
Well-
limit on it.
if it gets completed shorter time, that'd be great, but let's see what.
Well, I think a lot of that is to the Glick building and what it takes to
Well,
pay off that bond.
That's part of it. That's part of it. But just to take on all the projects that the DDA board envisioned down there, we needed the funding for 25 years, so we'd have enough TIF capture to get it done. That's what's driving it.
As I've said before, in my opinion, is that we have control. Council has never really, I don't believe, has really exercised that control over the budget. I don't look at it as a control, I look at it as an opportunity for council and the DDA to work together every year to come up with a plan that best meets the needs of the downtown. Anybody else? Seeing none, please take the roll.
Mayor Pro Tem Grabowski,
No.
Councilmember Cooper,
No.
Mayor Zelinski.
Yes.
Councilmember Szymanski,
Yes.
Councilmember Pontiac,
Yes.
Councilmember Sipsick.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you. Citizens' concerns and comments. Citizens' comments. It's an opportunity for citizens to comment on municipal services, activities, or area of city involvement. Citizens in attendance shall be recognized by the mayor for comments, limited to 5 minutes. Letters submitted to council will not be publicly read. Do we have anyone who would like to make comments? Seeing none, officials and staff. Oops, I'm sorry. Somebody getting up?
Caitlin Berard, Executive Director of the Downtown Development Authority. I really appreciate your support and the involvement of the Downtown Development Authority. This amendment allows for funding for really intense and aggressive infrastructure improvements that we look to do in the next 25 years. These projects can't be done in a short period of time, but with the funding allocated, these are things that we look forward to doing that weren't allocated before. So we appreciate your support, and if you do have specific questions, please feel free to email me, and I'd love to sit down and talk with you. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, officials and staff, Mr. Taylor.
Nothing at this time.
City Attorney.
Nothing, Your Honor.
City Clerk.
Nothing, Your Honor.
Thought I saw Mr. Bradford back there.
Nothing, Your Honor.
Public safety here? Is where's, there he is. Nothing? Am I missing anybody? DPW? How about Mr. Cooper? Do you have anything?
Nothing, Your Honor.
Anything else? Mr. Grabowski?
No.
Mr. Smansky?
This is Teen Dating Violence Awareness Day. So,
I'm glad you wore orange.
and I wore orange.
I have nothing. Go ahead.
Just adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion?
Motion.
We're adjourned in 5 minutes. We'll go into our work session.